All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Lunch and Learn Wednesday at Venture Portland. Today, we're going to be covering PR 101, getting media attention for your event. With so many events happening in Portland, marketing your district's event to the masses is definitely no simple task. I can't see all of your hands for those who are you are here right now, but who feels overwhelmed by marketing your event in general and figuring out which ways to get the most people to show up? Does anybody feel overwhelmed by that? Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a big task. And in a world with so many different avenues for marketing, it can seem daunting to know which form of communication is the most effective. Social media, print advertisements, digital ads, hanging posters around town, and of course, event calendars are all important options. And I always think you should be doing all of them. But if you are able to get media attention for your event, it certainly brings some level of notoriety and validation that what you're doing is worth going to. So how does one get media at their event? Well, we're going to go over that today. So, before we get started here, a little bit of housekeeping for those who are here with us today. Please mute your mics. If you have questions, you can use the chat box and we'll just have some time at the end for questions. We've got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to zip through this info. This recorded, so if you want to use this to reference in the future, it'll be on our YouTube channel, and I'll also do a follow-up email with some of the notes and things. So don't worry if I zip through things and you missed something. We'll have a follow-up and you'll be able to view this recording after. So a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Samantha Montanaro. I've been doing marketing and events for 20 plus years. I have a lot of Portland-based community event experience, and I'm passionate about collaboration for success. I've done hundreds and hundreds of events, and a lot of them have had media coverage over the years. So I was really excited about this topic because it's something that I didn't know that much about prior to becoming an event planner. And I ended up in a unique sector that plopped me in the media eye early on in my career. And it's made navigating, getting attention for things that I'm doing so much easier. And I can see how daunting it is to get your foot in the door to begin with. So excited to be with all of you here today. Let's jump into it. You know, the best thing about media is that it amplifies your mission. You're creating an amazing event. People want to know about it. So let's start off with the basics. First of all, you want to create an event worth amplifying. If you're doing something super simple that other people are doing all over the place, you can't expect the media to want to feature your event. So if you're building something that you know you want to get some amplification around, let's start with building it from the ground up with that in mind. See the past Lunch and Learn webinar that I did on our YouTube channel called Creative Events, the Creative Events Lunch and Learn. This is a whole webinar on creating a really creative event that is going to make people feel excited to attend. So that's a great resource for y'all to start with. Some of the basics here: creating a catchy concept, really great name and branding. How is this differentiating from other events? Leveraging your partnerships through the events that you're building, having cohesive marketing materials, and a diverse marketing strategy. I'm not going to spend much time on talking about this today because, again, we have a whole other Lunch and Learn that's around creating an event that is really buzzworthy. So please see that. And, you know, if you're thinking about getting the media involved, especially the name and the tagline are really important. What is this, and how are you telling people in a really one statement what it is and why they should be excited about it? Making a media friendly event and some things. You know, we're going to go over press releases in a little bit here, but generic releases tend to drown in piles and in inboxes. So how do you make your request stand out? It's going to start by doing some preliminary research. And again, we're going to go over press releases a little bit more in detail in this webinar. But making a media-friendly event is an important first step. So first of all, just doing your research, literally Googling making a media-friendly event. Google around and people that are maybe regularly getting media attention, asking for a meeting with them, seeing if it's something that you can talk about with somebody has experience is really going to give you a leg up. Personalizing the invitation, having a clear calendar, clear timeline of events, appealing visuals, a dedicated space for media, sending reminders, all of these things, like I said, we're going to cover a little bit more in detail, but this is a good starting place. Media magic. Using other forms of multimedia to build up to getting press to come there is step one after you have built an amazing concept, you've got things rolling with your event. How are you getting the media excited? Sharing insider stories and teasers before the event to build curiosity, and also creating like an event hashtag to generate interest. This is a really important piece. If people are seeing your event everywhere prior to it happening, they're going to be more likely to show up. Building your list is super important. For those of you starting from scratch, building a list by gathering the contact info of local newspaper reporters, TV affiliates, radio stations, notable bloggers, online influencers, just literally doing your research and starting to build your list. A lot of times these contacts are public information. If you go to news outlets or obviously social media influencers, you can literally just message them on Instagram or on Facebook. But a lot of sites do have information about where to send press releases. I found it to be incredibly helpful to literally make personal contacts with journalists. This is a really, really, really valuable thing that once you have, you will never let go of. Say you're at somebody else's event and you see a journalist doing a report about it, introduce yourself and see if you can have their business card. Showing up at events that there's going to be media at, and is there a media area? You're not being creepy. You're not being creepy if you're getting out there and meeting people that write these articles. With my event business, a lot of people often ask, like, how the heck do you guys keep getting coverage? And the truth is I built relationships with a lot of those journalists, and we built this rapport that at some point they trusted the events that I was doing. They knew I was building an event with them in mind, and that it was going to be smooth sailing for them getting the information that they need to correctly report. And having that personal contact, they also have my phone number. They were able to shoot me a text of oh, hey, we got this picture of this person, but who is this again? Being able to ask me clarifying questions easily for them to reach their deadlines, that all of those kind of things really, really matter. Building your list is really important. Making a press kit is super important as well. We'll go over some of these details, and I will include some in the follow-up email. I will include some examples. Press Kit is an online resource that makes it easy for media outlets to highlight the event, and it adds legitimacy to it. If you have a website for your event, I highly recommend literally creating a tab that says Press Kit. For me, for my band, I have a press kit, and it's a Google folder that has digital assets in it that make it really easy. If somebody is doing press about my band, Mama Sam and the Jam, I'll send them that, and it has amazing photos. It has everyone's name and descriptor info, and it has some juicy nuggets of info that they can use easily. If you're building this for your event, same thing. Have high quality photos, have the description, have the the things that make it different. Is there a community impact? Is there a give back? Is there an amplification of some sort of cause? Just having it be really clear for them where they can copy and paste. It's going to make it easy for them. Also, use Canva. If you're not already using canva.com, check it out. It's a free graphic design resource. Make it look amazing. Make everything with your branding of the event. If you haven't seen the Foster Summer Soiree is coming up, and the branding for this is freaking phenomenal. It is so beautiful. And I'm wondering if it's the woke face person who did that. I'm not sure if Jeff is here right now, but it is absolutely amazing. And that branding, you look at the Foster Instagram for an example of how they're weaving that branding on literally everything. It's so cool. As they're doing teasers for the bands and the DJs and the vendors and all this stuff, they have this footer of that beautiful branding on it. When I'm scrolling, I see it and I know what it is. And it's reinforcing that brand of that event. I am not forgetting that's on June 22nd. And the reason I know that is not because I do marketing for Venture Portland, but it's because of when I'm scrolling, I see it, I see it, I see it, I see it, I see it. They're doing such a great job of reinforcing that branding. If you're doing that, the media is looking for this stuff too. You know, they're scrolling too. They're looking for cool stuff to cover. They want to be that journalist that nailed some amazing moment at some amazing event and gets all the buzz, right? They're looking for that next story. So give them the info easily, drill it into their minds, because every graphic they see has that date and has that notable branding. I think that's just such congratulations, Jeff, on that. Like, really, we already know it's going to be an absolutely fantastic event because of the lead up that you're doing. And I'm sure press will want to go to that event. It looks good. They're knowing what they're getting into, and it seems exciting just based on the branding that's going on. So also to, okay, so media advisory, let's go into that a little bit here. A media advisory is essentially an invitation for members of the press to attend your event. It's shorter than a press release. So this is like the little nuggets, like 1 or 2 paragraphs. It covers the basics, who, what, where, when, why. And it looks a certain way as well. It is literally an event invite, but it's something that you want to kind of customize as well, because you want to personalize that. We're going to go over some more of this stuff as well. I'm going to keep drilling some of these things in because it is really important. The relationships matter. Different types of media have different approaches. And if they have different approaches to the work they're doing. So if you tailor your approach to meet their needs, you're going to have a higher success rate of building those relationships with the media, with folks in the media. So here's some tips for contacting different types of media. Oh, good. I was wondering if I had more slides on this. Yeah, relationships do matter, you know, and I love this little graphic in the middle because, like, whoo, you know, if you have an unfavorable run-in with a journalist and maybe you didn't know that, or something didn't go great, they're probably never going to want to do anything that you're doing. So I like that graphic in the middle because it's like, you know, how when you start working with someone and you're like, where does this sit on the scale of how much do I love working with this person? With the media, again, you just want to have this like fantastic experience with them, and that they're like, oh, I love that organizer. They just make it so easy for me to come do my job. So the different types of media, and a little bit about this, you know, researching the journalists who cover topics related to your event is going to be really helpful too. Like, who is always covering the like local business stuff? Who's always covering the local events? There are certain people that's what they do. So getting to know them in print media, broadcast media, and online media and social media is going to be really helpful. You can consider offering exclusive content or interviews to increase the appeal as well. So that's particularly with newspapers, magazines, TV, and radio. If you have a special guest coming, offer like this up with them ahead of time. Hey, we're so glad that you're coming. You're being featured at this event. I want to do some outreach to media. Do you mind if I offer to them? And I want Willamette Week to cover this. Would you mind if we offered only Willamette Week an exclusive interview with you at this event? Asking consent and helping set that up. It is like you're doing the work for them. Who wouldn't say yes to that? It's just awesome. Um, it's also amplifying your mission, which isn't that the whole goal, is to share with everybody what's going on. So let's see here, carrying on down. So with broadcast media specifically, pitching your event as a visual or auditory story is really helpful. Highlighting elements that make for compelling footage. Say you're going to have a tightrope walker in the park. I'm just making this up in the moment. I don't know why that was what came up. But say you're going to have someone that's putting a tightrope in the park. I hope you have a good insurance plan first and foremost. That this performance is they're going to be juggling on the tightrope between 2 and 2:30. Sharing this with the broadcast people ahead of time and being like, you're going to want to come at this time because there is this person doing this crazy thing during this time. Make their job easy, provide that the insight. And maybe you have some B-roll footage or some pre-recorded stuff, or maybe some things from past years from your event that you could actually share ahead of time too, of like, hey, I just wanted to also share this folder of footage from previous years. Giving them B-roll and stuff that they can be using. I mean, you're just giving them all the tools here. Again, why wouldn't they want to cover this when you're giving them all the tools, a juicy story, and you're being so sweet that they just love working with you. It works. It just works. Going to online media, blogs, and influencers. Identifying influencers with the audience who aligns with your event. This is really important. Say you're doing a Pride event this month. Finding influencers that are really well known in the LGBTQIA community and inviting them to come, sharing some stuff with, doing the same things, sharing some B-roll footage, giving them an opportunity of like, hey, just so you know, you're the only person that knows this thing's going to be happening at this time. Do you want to be the person here to come and cover this? I know that this can seem like a lot of organization, but like if you do that organization on the front and timing of this and then the communication around it, and you seal the deal of like, Willamette Week's going to come from 30, you get that footage of the tightrope walker. And then at 5:30, when the mayor is going to show up and give a speech for a second, no one even knows that. We're going to give that opportunity to an exclusive someone else, right? You can actually weave these opportunities throughout your event to draw in different folks. People want to feel special. That's also an important thing. People want to feel special, and especially media, they want an exclusive. They want something that only they're going to have. Offering some VIP access type stuff that can go a long way too. And I know for a lot of our community events, there isn't VIP access. This is a community event. We want everyone to actually feel welcome and be treated equally. But sometimes it's not necessarily like that. I think about the Central East Side annual meeting, freaking fabulous dinner. It's a fabulous event. There's a lot of people that go to that event because it's so fabulous. The food is amazing. The drinks are amazing. They have special guests. That is a type of an event that you could do a VIP access type thing. And maybe it comes with unlimited free drinks, and maybe there's a special table in a special place. So depending on the type of event that you're doing, definitely consider some sort of VIP access and offer that to the media. They love that kind of stuff, and opportunities to get to go somewhere and have an exclusive opportunity. It's part of why they do what they do. Because they're good at getting themselves in those situations that are amazing and that give them juicy information to share with the world. Social media is a big one. Leveraging social media platforms to engage with journalists and media outlets is really helpful. There's people running these accounts, get out there on social media and hit people up. It is like, I can't tell you how many opportunities I've gotten from just DMing someone, thinking, I don't know, they must have somebody managing this. No, a lot of times they're managing it because it's theirs. And it's a cool way. It's a really cool way, on sometimes on media outlets too, they'll tag people or they'll tag the journalist so you can find their personal account. Again, don't be too creepy, but social media is social for a reason. It's public. You can absolutely use this. Twitter and LinkedIn are particularly effective for certain media outlets. So definitely earmark those, depending on who we're talking about. Now, if we're talking about an Instagram influencer, you're messaging them on Instagram is going to be the way to get a hold of them. But when we're talking about journalists who primarily do print, they're going to be on Twitter. They're definitely on Twitter. It's a big part of their job. So LinkedIn, I really appreciate as well because there's a certain baseline of professionalism that exists there. That is a great way to approach anybody too that you're maybe like, this is kind of a shot in the dark, but like higher profile folks, it's it's not a super spammy place. It can be for like jobs, but I feel like LinkedIn is it's a really great place to message people in a professional way and get a response. Speaking of professionalism, remembering to maintain professionalism and respecting journalists' time and preferences when reaching out is super important. As it says on the bottom of the slide here, building genuine relationships can lead to long-term coverage and opportunities in the future. So just really being super is step one. Let's dive into press releases and media advisory. So a press release is a short but detailed message that alerts the press about your event. Like it says here, unless you're featuring a big time celebrity, you need to make the press release really compelling. So this is like whoever is on your team that knows how to juice. How do you squeeze the juice? How do you word things in a way that maybe make it more exciting than it even actually is? And I am just being totally blunt about that because this is how you take an average street fair, right? A lot of people have street fairs. Someone could deliver, oh, it's just kind of your standard street fair. There's vendors, there's music, there's food, there's drinks. Okay, someone can say it like that. Someone can also say, this is the best street fair in the city of Portland because we have XYZ, there's giveaways and surprises, like things, right? The way that you're communicating about it, really makes a difference as to how people receive it. So juice it up. You are throwing the best event in the world because that's what you do. So don't be afraid to toot your own horn. It can be really helpful. So here are some of the key components of a press release. Obviously, we're working with key logistics, when, where, people got to know where to get there. The heart of the event's purpose. Who are the brands? This is also, you can have this as a promise for your sponsorships as well. Hey, we're doing a press release. And if you have a decent list, this is actually like a value add too, just like knowing that a bunch of people are going to be seeing those brands. Covering the unique aspects of the event, some really good photos. Even just one really great photo is better than none. And having a summary with a call to action. What do you want to get out of this? I've done different types of press releases as well, depending on the types of media. So this is also really helpful. If if the call to action is to show up between 3 and 5 p.m. because you're having certain bands play and you're having a special guest give a speech and you're having the winners of the prizes being announced or something like this, make it very clear that the call to action is for them to arrive between 3 and 5 p.m. Even if your event is from 12 to 7, right? Like they're not going to be there all day. So just being very clear about what you want, or the call to action being like, come pop by, grab a couple photos and do a write up. If I press release for print stuff, the language I'm going to use is a little bit different. Like we already covered, if someone's doing video, you're going to be tailoring, hey, this is going to be really juicy footage, come capture amazing footage between these times, as opposed to just doing a write up about the event. I think you get the gist. And the last piece is the contact information. Once you get it down with press releases, which I pulled up some examples. I mean, really, I just recommend Googling like press release example. There's a million out there. They're all great. It's really quite basic. I mean, letterhead, logo, maybe an image at the top, and then this recipe, contact, one page, like keep it to one page. I highly recommend. Sometimes press releases do go up to a couple pages, but again, these journalists they're getting boatloads of these things and they have to sort through. So titling the email is also important. Press, for immediate release in all caps, and then like exclusive opportunity in the Williams district, or whatever. Having that catchy title is also really helpful. Getting personal with the outreach is really important as well. Let's see. I see there's a hand up. Is that intentional? Should I keep cruising? I'm having a hard time seeing you guys. Maybe that was an accident. Okay. I'm going to keep cruising. And like I said, go ahead and put questions if you have them in the chat box. I see that there's some chats, but I have so much info that I'm going to keep cruising here and we'll get to it. Okay. So once you've drafted your press release, do not hit send right away. Generic releases get drowned in the piles and in the inboxes. So make your requests stand out, do some research about who you're reaching out to. I tend to put them in buckets of influencers, video, and written, like magazines or news media. Even just those different buckets are helpful. Also, if I really want certain journalists to come cover stuff, I will write them a personal message, and the press release will be a link in the email, right? So getting personal with this once you have a relationship makes it really easy, because you are standing out in the inbox, because you're not just sending for immediate release. You're saying, hey, so-and-so, I saw your coverage of this thing. That was so awesome. I love following your work. You're incredible. Speaking of, I have this fantastic opportunity. I want to give you exclusive access. Here's the link to the press release. Do you think you can make it on this date between 4 and 5 p.m.? Right? The personal note is gonna land way easier than the general release. But like we said, or like we've talked about, I mean, if you're building this list from scratch, it's okay. You gotta throw the line out there to catch a fish, So it's okay to do, kind of general until you have direct contacts. Sending a calendar invite is one of the best ways to get people to show up to things too. Make it easy for them. If you send it out and you get a yes, honestly, I've even done it where I'm just putting everybody's invite on there and they can say no if they don't want to come, but it shows up in a different place, right? That's reinforcing what you sent out. It's not just an email getting lost in their inbox. If they have a Google Calendar, it's up in their calendar, whether they say yes or no to it. It gives them the option to look at that. And it also helps them see, where does this event maybe fall in what they already have planned. This is also a great way to get very clear on when you want them to show up. And in the calendar invite, in the description, if you have some of that juicy stuff from your press release, why is it from this time? you can say in there, the event is from 12 to 7, but I'm recommending you come to from 4 to 5 because we have some really exciting things happen that you're not going to want to miss. It's going to be great footage. Being able to put that in the invite itself on the calendar is gonna, like, they don't have to dig through their email to figure out the details. They can literally see what's going on via the calendar invite. Also send reminders. So I don't think I did this. Okay. Oh, I did. Cool. So, a pitching strategy example, I wanted like to share a little bit about the timeline of communication because I think that can also be a little confusing. And if you're just dumping on people too, like people are going to get annoyed with you and they're going to be like, I don't want to work with this person. They blast me with 1 million emails. So getting clear on how to pace the your contact strategy is really helpful. Once you have details, send a note. The sooner the better, because you're competing with a lot of other things with their time. So 5 days, I think that was kind of a little typo before. Well, no. Okay, actually, this is right. Okay, so if you're different media, they operate in different turnaround timelines, right? If they have to write an article about it, they're going to need more time to honestly even write it, but also the planning of the media that they're putting out is on a different pace than like social media video stuff. So 5 days before for print media, reminding them, hey, this is going on, reminder, giving them that info ahead of time. Can they be prepping, writing that article? Can they have some stuff already in and then they just fill in with the details? For TV and radio, pinging them 36 hours before is going to be helpful. You want to catch people in that moment when they're like, okay. I need to get some stories together for the next 3 days, right? The next 24 hours. Like they're operating very much in that realm, especially like news reporters that are bopping around. I mean, they're literally waiting for stuff to happen. And then they're jumping the van and they're going to it's very dramatic. I love that. It'd be fun to be a reporter. But um, remembering that they do operate in that way, right? Like you can tell a news reporter 2 months about your event before, but like they're looking for that story that's happening right now. So, giving them an invite before, having it on their radar, great. And then pinging them with that exact detail of, hey, make sure you're here between 3 and 4, whatever, is going to help. Confirming the receipt of the advisory. So if you send that invite, pinging, hey, did you get, just making sure even the morning of, right? Morning of the event, day before the event, just making sure you got this invitation, this exclusive invitation for you. We really hope you can make it. A few hours before the event, just wanted to check in. We're all set. Timeline's looking great. You don't want to miss this. At the event, that's definitely an important piece too. Hey, when you get here, here's my cell phone. Text me when you're on site. I want to introduce myself in person. Make sure you're getting that personal connection. If you put in all this effort to get the media to show up there, you want to make sure that they know your face, they know who you are, you have that personal, maybe you've been interacting with the general Willamette Week, press release, news, email, and you don't have a personal contact. This is an amazing opportunity to make sure you're getting those individual emails and even phone numbers. If you're doing a lot of stuff in your district and you're like approaching it from this, hey, I'll text you if there's some story happening in my district, right? Amazing things happen all the time. Being able to get that level of connection with a journalist is really invaluable. And of course, the follow-up is always so important. So let's talk a little bit more about at the event. Planning for flexibility is really important always. Like I've been drilling, you'll get the best media coverage if you can show the media that this is something even worth reporting on. If they show up and they don't find anything interesting going on, it's wasted opportunity, not only for just this event, but for potentially subsequent events. they might be less inclined to attend something in the future if they come and it's like wah 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 wah. So this is why like really planning that out of don't tell the media to come the whole flipping time. Tell them to come when you know something amazing. And and again, if you do have that personal touch ahead of time, or you do get a reporter to say yes of like for an exclusive thing, being like, hey, I want to give you my cell phone number and like, do you think you could text me? I want to make sure that I'm not wasting your time. And if our guest is running late, I want to be able to text you. Asking for their contact information. Do you want to cater to them and their schedule? It's like, they're like, dang, I feel so taken care of. This is great. They're going to want to come. Um, and yeah, if possible, just planning to get really specific on the timeline. Um, you know, everybody wants it to be as efficient as possible. If you have a check-in process, finding ways, can you drop off media passes or can you mail them media passes? If this is a big event that you're throwing that has tickets, there's typically a long line or something like this, or there's something going on at a time that there's maybe going to be some hoopla with like that they're going to have to go through to get in. Can you give them the cool media passes that just let them walk in and have access to go everywhere? Expediting any of that type of logistical stuff can be really, really helpful. A media room isn't always appropriate, but sometimes it is. And again, like we talked about before, having a certain table, having a certain area that maybe has some refreshments, treating them like the royalty that they are. They have a lot of power, and people who work in these realms, like, they are treated this way everywhere else. So make sure that you're on par with what they're experiencing out in the world. This final tip I think is so valuable. Preparing a shot list. If you have, say Portland Mercury is sending a reporter to come, or I don't know if you guys know David, what is his last name? David with East PDX News. He goes to like everything in East Portland. He's everywhere. I always have a shot list prepared for David. I know he's going to come to Summer Nights on July 10th for Historic Park Rose. If anyone's available to come to that street fair. He always comes and I prepare a shot list for him. We have a shot of the board members. We have shots of the food, always like, getting photos of people, of families hanging out, laughing, having fun. These types of things. And if you're doing a recurring event too, and you have your own photographer, think about how you can prep for next year's press kit and next year's media kit. What shot do you want? What shot is going to be that juicy shot of like people dancing and everybody laughing, or, just showing that people are having so much fun. I get goosebumps even saying that out loud because it's like people want to feel that. And when you share a photo of people having the best time of their life at your event, you're giving them a reason to want to come to this thing. So, that's all got me really exciting. Okay. Follow up for an event. This is always so important. Do not drop the ball once the event is done. This is like such an important piece of events planning in general. And I think something that has helped me in my event career for a really long time. Having that post-event plan. How do you follow up and show gratitude? How do you reshare or encourage them to reshare? Reporting on the good stuff. Can you, maybe like Willamette Week came and got a little clip, and what if like then they left and then it just so happens like 500 more people came and like something amazing happened. There was a flash mob that broke out, or something like, and they didn't know this. And maybe you captured some footage of reporting on the really good stuff that happened when they were not there, and then maybe sharing some of that stuff. It's gonna like just juice what they've already got going. Don't let them forget you, just again, there is a line between being like annoying, but I don't, if you're just being mindful, respectful, and communicating how awesome things are, they're gonna love you. You know, you're making it easy for them. Um, you know, yeah, I'm like, let's just go to the final pro tips here. Cause this is like, you know, be a professional. If you're a professional and you totally crush it with it, the media is gonna love you and you're gonna have that recurring relationship forever, and it's not gonna feel so hard anymore. Check and double check the details. This is a huge, holy mackerel. There was recently an event that I saw. There were dates wrong on different graphics. People are confused. And this was not in the business district circuit. I just want to say out loud, this was, you know, through a different industry, because I'm not calling anybody out that's in this room. um, but like, check and double check your stuff, have somebody else look at it, like make sure you're not making a really simple mistake, because that kind of stuff makes it look like you don't have your stuff together. Um, respectful, not fangirl. I said this because obviously I'm kind of an excitable person, and it can be like I have to like quell my like kind of vibe, but like being respectful and like, dude, I really honor your work. Like, I know your work. I respect you. I am so excited you're here. That goes a long way. Don't cross the line of making them feel uncomfortable. But again, people like to feel special. So I think that is a helpful pro tip. Don't get the press involved until you're ready. That's also a helpful tip, because you know what? If you're not ready for it, like, some people say there's no such thing as bad publicity. I don't know about y'all, but in the business districts, there is such a thing as bad publicity. There is a reputation that is already attached to the city of Portland and the different business districts, and it's usually coming from outlets that are not here. Um, I think we're all passionate about changing the narrative around Portland and the beautiful business districts that we have with vibrant communities. Um, if you're not ready for the press, wait until you are ready. If this is the first year you're having an event, maybe spend your time this year on building your list and making relationships, and get prepared to be like the year that you're like, all right, I want to be a feature on the evening news. You know, it's worth taking the time and energy to make sure you're doing it well. Um, gratitude and I'm like, what's that? Get that press. Make it easy and exciting for the press to attend, and they will. Thank you so much. That's all I have on this presentation. I see that there is some chats here, so I'm going to take a look there. But before, if anybody needs to jump off or anything, the final note is just, here's my contact information. If you have any questions, follow up to this, if you have any tips, if you like want to pick my brain about certain outlets or things, I'm happy to have a conversation. I've, you know, really had the pleasure of my companies. I think we've been covered by like literally almost every single news media outlet in the world. The New York Times was like one of the only ones that I had a goal for that didn't happen before I sold my shares in the company, but I hope it will still happen for Toketivity. But I have a ton of experience working with a lot of different varieties of media companies, journalists, and avenues, and it should not be privileged information. It is kind of gate kept. And I hate that. I think that it's wrong. And I think that y'all are doing such beautiful, amazing work, and you deserve to be able to have access to all the things to make it happen for you. Because I definitely believe in all of you. So all right, I see a hand here. David, what's your question? Up, you're muted. David Ashton, yeah. Oh, still can't hear you. Let's see.
David, you look a little frozen. Maybe put the question into the chat.
Okay.
And let's see if that
I
works.
just went through. Yeah. Okay. A couple quick questions. That's great.
And I think,
No
Sam, one
problem.
of the things that you talked about was, getting out the teaser, right? And getting out the pitch, but not till it's ready.
Yeah.
When do you think it needs to be ready? Like, can you wait as long as 5 days before the event? Or is it, 30 days? I mean, what's your advice there?
Yeah, I feel this question. And mostly because it just depends on what you're looking for. So if you
Yeah.
want the news to be there, you're gonna want to do the press release and the invite and all of that. I would say, okay, cool. I see your question, David. I would say like a few weeks before, a month before.
Yeah.
If you want like, yeah, channel, if you want KGW or whatever to come get you on the evening news, they are doing planning. And
Yeah.
I think I kind of skimmed over this. I don't know where this note got lost, but like even when you're planning your event, when you're picking your date, if you know that there's going to be the Rose Festival going on, the Rose Parade, and you're picking the same time, you just know they're going to be there. So like even when you're choosing your date for your event, like picking a date that you're not in direct competition with anything big. Now if we're talking about a social media influencer, that's a little bit different, right? So
Yeah.
I think just having everything ready a month before is just a good way to go about it. And sending out that calendar invite like a month before, a few weeks before, maybe
Right.
the initial invite a few weeks before, but then like that, especially for the more immediate news stuff,
Mhm.
like pinging them a few days before and being like, you don't want to miss this. We've added some stuff on, and maybe even be a little bit elusive. Like I said, there's going to be a
Yeah.
special guest that you're not going to want to miss. It's going to be at 4:30 exactly. Don't, be here 30 minutes of your time and you're going to be glad you came. That can be really awesome. So, okay, so jumping to some of the questions here. So press release, attachment in email or email body. Um, that's a really great question. I do both. So, um, having having it beautifully designed as an attachment can be helpful for the people that you're reaching out to that maybe and you're writing a personal message and then you link it. Hey, here's the link, in the like text, not even like linked or, maybe it is attached actually, but it's like we're in the 21st century here with technology. I love the links, like, it just makes it really easy. It's like, see the event details here, and you click here and you get to it. It's like you don't even have to scroll to the bottom of the email. You're already right there. Um, Putting it in the email body, I think is more effective for initial outreach. And if you don't have X, make it so they don't have to leave the email, right? Again, thinking about that efficiency, if they're getting a boatload of them and they're quick clicking through, design that email to look really good. Put the image, have that logo, have the image at the top, make it look like that beautifully designed document that you have that you would attach. How detailed should it be? Highlights or details? So I just try and never more than 2 pages. It's just, they're not going to
Mhm.
read it. They're not going to read it.
No.
There's just too much information. So it's getting really clear on, I'll finish this thought, Tree, and then Therese, jump in. So, you know, what, don't ramble about the things that are obvious. Oh, there's going to be food there. Yeah, no kidding. There's food at every flippin' event. What is it that is making it different? Right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to bore them with the like things that the event has. So I think the highlight that is like, we're having 8 different vendors representing 8 different countries, right? Something like this, that it's like showing, it's like, oh wow, it's different, and that's awesome. And not being like, there's food and drink. They're like,
Yeah.
cool.
And I
Um,
think, you know, just jumping in, it's like being really specific. So if you do have food carts coming, really special, we're having an LGBTQI cart
yes,
called I cart, so we want to feed her. You
right.
know, those things are to the media. So that's a time to highlight those. But otherwise, if it's food carts, like Sam said, don't, yeah,
And
you're
like,
gonna have donut deal.
yeah, tying this back to what I was saying before, it's like, how do you embellish in a way that's true? Like, you're not gonna lie. We need to be honest, but like, how do we fluff it a little bit? Um,
Do you think it's on the front when you're thinking about planning your event? Think out who you want to highlight,
yeah,
right? So if it's BIPOC business, want to highlight them, do that at the start. So you're not faking it. It's real. This is what you care about, district, right? Anyway, just jumping
Three,
in.
Well, I mean, I think a really simple way of saying this, it's our job to make them care. It's
yeah,
our job to make them interested. And
yeah,
so, in a very simplistic term, who are you? What do you do? And why should they care? Done. But my other question is specific to the PDF, and you're advocating for a designed PDF or a designed, well-designed thing. Well, I agree with you on that. However, my executive director does not, and she wants it to be a form letter that looks like all other press releases.
sure.
And so I see value in both of those. What do
Yeah.
you think?
I love that question. You just do what feels right for you. I really like, I have so much respect for the folks that tend to just be more traditional. It's just not me at all. I am the psychedelic sheep of every community that I'm a part of. So, like, I'm never going to be the one to send this like really basic thing. Um I think that regardless, I mean, don't send something that is so distracting that, what is the point? The point is information that can be quickly downloaded into their brains and that they can understand. So, depending on your organization and depending on like what the event is too, is it something that is around gun violence? Well, this isn't going to be some frilly thing. This might be like delivered in a way more direct way. So I think just being sensitive to like what type of event it is, and obviously, I mean, it sounds like your leadership prefers a certain way of operating, and that's okay. That's totally okay.
And what about one other question? What about adding a photograph?
Yeah, I think like I tend to do like one photograph, if I have one really good photograph, I'm using it. If I have some photos that I feel like are okay that can give information, I'll link it in there. Because regardless of whether it's in the email on Canva, you can design an interactive PDF, so it will have active links on it. If there's a recap from last year's event, link it, right? This is a cool way that you can help them see without bogging down your press release. So I see a couple people asked about influencers. So we'll maybe do this one last question, since we just have a couple moments left here. Advice on finding connecting with influencers. Yes, I have lots of advice in this department. Because I'm one of them. And I found like Travel Portland, we're doing an influencer program with them. I am an influencer via venture that is working with Travel Portland to do Cool Corners Portland. They have an influencer program. So if you look through their videos, They are working with a variety of different folks that are known for doing coverage in the city of Portland. So this is an amazing resource because all of these people live here and they care about food and they care about events and they care about Portland and they want to do fun stuff. So I think that that is like absolutely the best place to just go. And they, every 6 months, they bring in new influencers. So you can scroll far back, look at all of their static posts too. They have other people creating content for them. They also create their own internal content, but they're working with a lot of folks. And Carmen, who's leading that department, she's one of my best friends. I'm lucky to have her as a resource. She's been up and up on this and has she's literally spearheading that. And it's such a cool way to find people that are doing this stuff. Joy and I recently went to, yay, thank you for that. That makes me so happy, that sweet comment. Joy and I recently went to a media release thing of Salt and Straw's collaboration with Straightaway Cocktails. And I saw two influencers there that work with Travel Portland. And it kind of made me giggle because I know them from looking at Travel Portland content. And then since then, I'm like, oh, okay, that person primarily does food, but she's also obsessed with going to new places in Portland. She's someone that if you get a relationship with her, say there's a new restaurant opening in your district, you could be like, hey, you can compensate these people too at any time of like, would you come make a reel about this and create some buzz and then you cross promote it? We're gonna do a webinar on this. There is gonna be a future webinar on this whole topic because it is really valuable way for you guys to be generating a lot of excitement about your district. And your specialty may not be social media, but there's people who live in your district, there's people who live in your city who do this full time, and they can really help you communicate to the community, drum up some excitement, get some new followers, and switch up the type of content that you're offering.
And I lastly, think Sam, want to give you a name on Instagram. So write this down. She has 76,000 followers and she isn't paid for this content. She does it because she loves Portland and does a shout out for all of the different things that can happen for your weekend, right? So her name is Michelle. It's with one L. Do people know her already? So it's MICHELEEVENLEE on Instagram. She's a great promoter. I have business friends who are like, she promoted me. I had never even met her, right? So she's really just doing this because she really cares about the city of Portland and does these incredible shout outs that 76,000 people look at. So it's a big deal. So contact me if you didn't get the name anyway, but she's a big one.
I love this.
Yeah, and she just does it for the love of it.
Yeah, leveraging those people out there, they're on the edge of their seats about this stuff. They're looking for news stories in Portland. I mean, how fun.
I mean, it is a 24-hour news cycle now, right?
Yeah.
So they are looking for things to promote and to talk about. It's just showing why they should.
Yeah. And especially again, the kind of positive messaging. I just think that Portland, outside of Portland particularly, has just so much bad press. And we all know we're all dealing with this, right? We're in the thick of it as business district leaders. We're seeing the impact of the fentanyl crisis. We're seeing the impact of the houselessness crisis. We're seeing the impact of the raise in prices across everything, in a way that is terrifying sometimes. But we are also the people who are bringing the community together and creating these like vibrant opportunities for people to remember why they love Portland so much. Yeah. And like small business that we're built on, and just the like innovative, weird, quirky, fun things that make Portland what it is. We're spearheading that too. So it's up to us to like really let people know what we're doing. And it's not just some cheesy thing. It's awesome. We're doing awesome stuff and the world should know about that. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for attending another Lunch and Learn Wednesday. And I hope you all have a fabulous afternoon and we'll see you soon. We're going to be doing, per Joy's request, I'm going to make a little tweak. We're going to do a webinar on making Instagram reels, and we're going to do some social media specific stuff around how to make your business district be a buzz, not only with people on foot, but in Instagram and TikTok and in social media land, to help you amplify the important work you're doing. So I look forward to seeing you soon and have a wonderful day.